Welcome to the Sega Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things Sega, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for Sega. Indeed. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sega Lounge. Hopefully everything is working somehow. I hope so. So my name's KC. I'm really truly sorry for being so late in starting the show. So I think the best way to start this is to introduce my amazing guests for the week. We have in order to my right, left. I'm confused. Lime. Hello, Lime.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Welcome.
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Excellent. We also have GreenViper8. Hello, Viper.
Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Oh, hello there.
How are you? Welcome. It's been a while.
It's been a long while since I've been on the Skill Gym and Lime Lounge. It's nice to be here.
I'm sure Skill Jim appreciates you being here. Yes. Okay, and we also have Lewis, aka SonicYoda. Hi.
Hello. Apologies for delaying the start of the show dramatically with terrible tech problems on my part, but I think we're there.
It's okay. Stuff happens. So I know I have been guilty of my fair share of technical problems in the past, so it's okay. Very happy to have you here to discuss Sage. Actually, very happy to have all of you here to discuss Sage 2023. Welcome everyone listening in on RadioSEGA as well. Always a pleasure to be broadcasting live to RadioSEGA and to people on Twitch. For example, Resident SD, who says, "What time do you call this? Is that any way to treat us? We're doing a show.
So much sass.
Out of the kindness of our hearts, and just." It's a shame. People these days. Oh my God.
You behave, SD.
Behave. Yeah. Can you see me trying to adjust things?
Oh yeah.
Very sneakily.
So subtle.
Yes. Yeah. We also have LimeReversed on chat. Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Who would have thought of that one?
SJ is here. Welcome, SJ. We have the boss himself, Skill Jim, head of the Skill Gym Lounge. Hello.
Oh,
yeah, and everyone else who joins, welcome, and it's really nice to do our this year's Sage 2023 coverage. It's not something that I always do. It's been a couple of years, maybe since the last time that I did this, but it's always a pleasure to talk a little bit about Sage. And so the best way to start this is, I think, by playing the Sage 2023 splash screen professionally. Okay, so this is how we're going to do this for everyone watching or listening. We are going to talk about our favorite games from this year's Sage, at least the games that we were able to try, right? I don't know, I haven't played all of them. Have you guys?
All of them, there were 100 to 200 games.
So unprofessional, unprofessional of us. We should have played.
I did
everything.
play like 27 of those games. I feel that was a lot. Still,
probably. Yeah, but we're gonna talk. We all picked like 3 or 4. Each of us picked 3 or 4 favorite games or games that we feel like are worth mentioning. And we're gonna take turns talking about them and maybe show some footage if that works. I'm not sure right now. But I would like to start with your overall impressions of the show, of the expo this year. So what did you guys think? I wanted to start with Lime, because I know, Lime, you're really not that familiar with the event, right? This was like your first time.
Yeah, This is my first stage, Sage. I've definitely heard of it before, so I knew what it was. I've seen YouTube videos of people covering the games, but I never really got into it myself, and even had the thought of, I should try them as well. But I don't know. This year, I just like, you know what? I'm gonna do it, and it was very much fun. I'm very happy that I did it. There were games that I would never had the pleasure to play otherwise, because some of them were absolute gems, and that was very awesome. So yeah, first impression of Sage, a very good one. It was very much fun.
Excellent. Nice to hear. Nice to hear. And it's all because of me. No. Okay.
Yeah,
All because of the Sega Lounge. All because of the Sega Lounge.
Yes, yes. That and Sin Fritz as well, who was also pulling me a little bit to do it. So I was like, okay, yeah, well, let's do it.
Why not, right? Yeah. Awesome. What about you, Viper? Overall thoughts on this year's Sage?
Yeah, I thought it was a great one this year. So I've been following Sage for about 10 years now, both off and on. Like Casey, I tend to go through a phase of caring, not caring every couple of years. I'm like, oh, I'll make something for Sage this year. Oh, I won't pay attention to it. I am not as dedicated as some people in this call to that craft. So, but of the ones I've experienced, definitely this is on the higher end. It's a real stacked one. I'd say certainly anyway. So really can't complain with what's been on offer. There's been some great stuff. There always is, of course, but I think the volume of good content versus some years is just off the charts. There's so much polish on everything that I played this year, and didn't really see many exceptions. I'm sure maybe there might have been, but the bar was very high this year, so I had a great time with it. And there's so many more games I wish I could get to talk about than I actually am going to be able to talk about on this show tonight. So I think that really says a lot in comparison to perhaps other Sage experiences. So yeah, it was a great event and got some good stuff out of it, which is always the benefit.
Excellent. That's always nice to hear that people are enjoying themselves with these fan events. Obviously, the other people on this call that are very dedicated to their craft, Lewis, meaning Lewis. So,
hello.
Thoughts on this year's Sage? You cover it every year, right? You're like the most experienced out of four of us.
Thank you very much. So Sage is like the moment of the year for me every year. Like it's the thing I absolutely adore. That I always come back to, and it is always lovely to see what it showcases every year. I think this year in particular, again, I really like that Sage is really leaning towards indie now quite a lot. Fan games in particular are still obviously, very prevalent and important to the show, but I think it's fantastic now that so many people feel like they should go full indie, make something completely original, and just use it as a great platform to bounce new projects off and get them out to people. So it's just lovely to see the indie side grow even more as per last year. It goes from strength to strength. I absolutely adore Sage. It's probably my favorite Sonic calendar event every year, and this year was no exception. There's some absolutely outstanding stuff out there, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Even when I don't care about Sage a particular year, or I don't play the games, I usually go to your YouTube channel to check out the games that are present and your own opinions and stuff. So it's very nice to have you on the show and share your expertise with us.
That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you very much. I mean, I know I don't get particularly large views. I know there are fan game channels out there like JPin and Blue Vivacity that do, incredible numbers with their fan game content. But I like to think that the people that come to Sega Driven seem to be very dedicated and are always very positive in what I have to make and stuff. So it's incredibly kind of you to say. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. So let's get right into it, right? We have each of us picked 4 games. At least for me, in no particular order. Maybe some of you did this in order. So I will let you choose in which order you want to address the games that you chose. So the order we have here on our document is Lewis, Viper, Lime, KC. So maybe, Lewis, would you like to start with maybe your first one?
Yeah, happy to start. So my first pick was something I unfortunately didn't get around to covering on the channel itself, but I picked Sonic Horizons by Strix. So yeah, this is a Sonic Frontiers like tribute, which is incredible. I can't believe it hasn't even been a year since Sonic Frontiers is out, and there's a fan game of Sonic Frontiers already. The quality is amazing. Honestly, the character animation looks incredible. The overall graphics and presentation are phenomenal. Yeah, I was just again, it's just one of those things where it's like I remember this event back when like 3D fan games was almost an impossibility, and now it's like homebrew developers are doing things at AAA studio quality, which is absolutely insane to think about. And I think it's got a few weaknesses in the fact that like it's very difficult to sort of figure out like where you're going. You get lost quite easily. I think it doesn't have the same sort of strength of stage design that Sonic Frontiers does, where it's there's always something in the distance for you to go towards or check out. And there's a lot of verticality as well to Sonic Horizons. It really wants you to get up in the trees and look for these crystal shards. I know at first I was like using the map to try and figure out where the crystal shards were, and I was standing right on one, but it wasn't there on the map, and it was actually, because it was up in the tree sort of thing. So I think it needs sort of a better readjustment to its stage design to really sort of like guide the player a little bit better, because it's quite easy to get lost. But these are minor complaints in the grand scheme of things. I think it's an absolutely beautiful thing, just an incredible looking game, with an incredible moveset that's almost identical to Sonic Frontiers. It feels really, really good to use. Even with keyboard controls, I found it was pretty comfortable actually. So yeah, that's my first pick, just because I think just the advances in 3D fan gaming are just incredible, and this is such a great showcase for that. The fact that we've got a Frontiers fan game not even a year out from release is just really, really fascinating stuff.
Yeah. Skill Jim says, "Wow, looks really fun. Looks really beautiful." Actually, I haven't played this one. Have any of you guys played this one?
Yeah, I got to try it as well, and I would say the exact same things. It is absolutely beautiful. I didn't get very far into the game because I got lost a lot.
So similar feelings there.
Okay. Viper, any thoughts?
I can't say I've played it, so I'm looking at this footage that's on my screen right now, and to be completely honest, I think I'm giving this a download after the show, because this looks great.
Amazing.
Totally up my street.
This flew right past me. I didn't even know this was a thing, I think. It's a testament of how great and how big this year's Sage is, how many great games we have, and some of these can just fly past your radar.
Yeah, no, completely. It's again, it's just the sheer volume of games, isn't it? You can't play everything, and it's. I thankfully saw this on JPin, I think it was his channel, briefly, and I was like, well, I need to go and check that out. But unfortunately, my PC is so archaic, as we've already experienced trying to set up the stream, that trying to play it and capture it was a little bit too much on my PC, unfortunately. Okay. So this doesn't have a dedicated video on my channel, but I would recommend that people give this a go if you like what you're looking at.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, definitely a very good looking game that looks really fun, and again, the fact that we have a Sonic Frontiers fan game already, it's just mind-blowing. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that was a very good way to start this. Viper, what about you? What's your...
Okay, so
which one would you like to...
let's see where we begin, because we're all going to go in different orders, aren't we?
I was going with the order that I had here. Okay, but okay.
That's fair enough.
Just give me a second to set up the B-roll. So, okay, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Sonic Colors Demastered. Is this the correct answer, Casey?
Yes, it could be.
Does this work with you if I buffer this for long enough?
Yeah, it could be. So why do you like Sonic Colors Demastered?
Right, first of all, I'll apologize. I thought this was in order of preference, not just a random order. But no, I mean, of course, I really like the original Sonic Colors anyway, so it's a natural pick that someone trying to perhaps turn it into, I was going to say a more Sonic Rush style game, but that's what the DS game does anyway, but takes that, injects a lot of fan game elements into it, and I think just cleans up the perhaps rough edges of the DS game. And in turn, you get what is a pretty unique fan experience because it doesn't borrow too much from either version, but it still has enough of the colors DNA to feel exactly like, almost a perfect cross between the two. And also, as you can see right here on screen, a little bit of Sonic Advance, Sonic Battle thrown in as well. It's like this perfect mix of that not the 2010s, the 2000s era of handheld Sonic all thrown together into one while still having these console-like qualities to it, this replayability, this depth as well. And I just thought it was very graphically impressive, despite being so purposely crushed down into this art style that it still has a lot of room for freedom and experimentation and still manages to look and feel like Sonic Colors while making its own improvements. So I was really big on this one. I didn't get to the end of it, so I have no idea how much is on display here, but even just from messing around in Tropical Resort, I think it's clear that this was absolutely one of my favorites. I had a great time with it, and it's going to be one of my recommends, therefore.
Okay. Anyone else tried this one?
No,
I didn't try this one, unfortunately. I think I incorrectly sort of like judged it because it was reusing the Sonic Advance sprites, and I was just a bit like, repurposing assets. Like if you're going to do these things, I much prefer fully original stuff. So I think that was, probably a little bit of a prejudice that I didn't really need to throw at this because if you're saying that it's a lovely playing thing and it very much sort of riffs on the DS version, I think I would have probably liked to have given that a go. So maybe I need to go and give this one a check out.
Why did I miss that red ring and killed myself? I don't know. So this is actually my footage. I played this because of Viper, because I tried to record footage for the games that you guys picked and told me in advance. And so I really enjoyed this. I too was a bit skeptical. I thought, this is just, why do you need to demaster Sonic Colors? Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah, but I get it. It's like turning the DS game into something more like the mainline game, right? Like the Wii game, and building upon it. So I really enjoyed it. It plays really well. I had a little bit of a problem, but it's probably me at times with the homing attack. The timing of the homing attack, I think, sometimes feels a bit off, or at least it felt for me.
I didn't have that, but I don't know. Can I blame it on a skill issue, or am I?
Yeah, you should.
am I not comfortable enough in this situation?
No,
okay,
definitely.
I'll blame it on that then.
you can blame it on my skill issue, which is non-existent. Yeah, that's probably why I had this problem. That's why I'm always very uncomfortable criticizing things, because in terms of gameplay, because I never know if it's me or the game. So
in all seriousness, I don't think I experienced that, but it also wouldn't surprise me at the same time, given the floatiness of the controls a little bit in places. So it definitely could have happened, despite all jesting. So I think that's perfectly fair.
But it's like version 0.2 or something, right? So it's. I too haven't completed the demo, but you at least have I think Starlight Carnival, right? Let me just skip through you. I think you unlock, there we go, Starlight Carnival. So at least one more area of the and Sweet Mountain. Okay, yeah, it probably have a lot of things a lot of content still to cover. I only played the first two acts of Tropical Resort, and then
I think that's about where I left it as well. But
yeah,
if there's as much as that, I didn't expect that at all. So clearly, I'm going to have to go back in.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great game. I definitely recommend that as well. It's a brilliant 2D Sonic game. Yeah, very much recommend it. And as Lewis said, I also judge it by Discover, and I stand corrected. So do check this out. Yeah, great game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
Because I was in the same. Yeah, I was doing the same there when picking what games to play. I was like, I'm not sure this is gonna give me much. But yeah, I might definitely be wrong.
For shame.
I'm sorry. Oh.
Okay, so speaking of which, Lime, what is your
What
your
game
pick?
did you pick then, Lime?
Yes, if you're so judgmental, what game did you pick? What game is good enough for you? Do tell
Well,
us.
one of the games that caught
Uh-huh.
my eye was Sonic Encore.
Thank you very much for saying that. Okay.
Yes, where they took a like they made a 3D Sonic game with awesome visuals and like it looked amazing, but they were also trying to create the feel of the 2D games. So they have like as we see here, like all of the environment that we all recognize from the earlier 2D games, and they wanted to create this the gameplay feel of the from the 2D era as well. And that's exactly what I liked with it, and that's why I wanted it as a pick, because here they absolutely nail for me the momentum. This is not like something new, especially not in Sonic fan games, but I really just want to highlight at least one game where you really feel yourself speeding up when you go downhill. Like, it's a small detail, but for me, it does so much. It feels for me exhilarating when you go through what you call them corkscrews, or like go downhill.
Sorry, I love the timing.
What?
The choice of pick is fantastic, I've got to say.
Exactly.
Okay, so that happened. Okay, yeah, so it
Yeah,
has
okay,
some
move on,
issues.
moving on,
It
moving
has
on.
some issues. It does. But yeah, I really just wanted to highlight that feature. I just absolutely love it when they do that. It for me, it's more immersive. It feels like you're more in the world, and your movements matter because you need to build up a momentum, and it feels exhilarating going downhill. Like
Yes.
you're just picking up speed, and I love that. So that's why I wanted to pick this one.
Yes. As Kill Jim
I didn't
says,
get very
also
far
seems to
into the
pick up
game.
speed when Sonic is falling too.
Yeah, indeed. I finished like 2 stages, and then I had to quit. There are a lot more stages, but yeah, I very much enjoyed it.
Okay, so we have a boss fight as well.
Yes,
Which is
indeed.
nice.
Do you recognize where this boss is from?
Yes, it's from Super Mario Brothers 3.
Wow. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
thank you for agreeing. Okay, Viper or Lewis, have you guys played this one?
Yeah, I played this one. I did a video on this one as well.
Yeah.
I think, again, incredibly ambitious. Again, it's amazing to see how far 3D fan games have come. This one reminded me quite heavily of, I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube series Sonic Spitball by Shamey, where he sort of pitches a 3D Sonic fan game. What Sega could do making a 3D Sonic game using old school 2D momentum and physics, and this sort of feels like that sort of, captured incredibly well. There is a big emphasis on using, the actual momentum and physics to get speed in this, which is very classic in that regard. But similar criticisms to what I was saying about Sonic Horizons. I did find that the stages are very large and it's very easy to get turned around and a bit lost. And I did find that the homing attack was a little spotty. In particular with the bosses, sometimes you would take the damage when you clearly got a lock on and you were supposed to hit him. And it wasn't very obvious that he was in an invincible state or anything like that. So yeah, just some minor issues there that I'm sure could potentially be ironed out, but unfortunately I think this is the final build of the game. But again, it's an enormous game. Yeah. Really, really big game. Lots to do. It does feel like a complete package now, because we did look at it last Sage as well, if I remember correctly. I think Titan's Creed may have covered it for me. It's lovely to see the whole thing fleshed out, and again, incredibly ambitious. I'm very impressed with visually what it's like and how it feels to play, but just some minor complaints that kind of take the edge off it a little bit for me.
Okay.
Can we is it possible for you to rewind a little bit to that corkscrew in, or is that too much to ask?
Which
like
part?
in the Angel Island, there's
here?
there we go. Yeah, here is like
You had no
it
momentum,
does-
so you fell off,
yeah,
right?
exactly. It does so much. Like when you are upside down, when you know there are stakes, it does so much rather than, just putting boost pads there and you're going to do it. So you're just like going through a thingy. Basically, it feels like the game is playing itself. But here, since there are physics and you need to obey them, there are stakes and you feel that. And that it does very much for me, at least, when playing through a game like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, there are definitely some issues. I got some glitches. I got out of bounds several times. But
Yeah, that's
it was
the
still
issue
fun.
with a game of like this scope, right? You're turning a 2D stage into a 3D stage. You have to open it up, but sometimes the scope is so big that it's easy to get out of bounds. It's easy to get lost, just like Lewis said. Right?
I think the issue
Yeah.
with games like this is that obviously there is probably one developer, so the testing doesn't get to go to, unfortunate, like Sonic Team AAA
Yeah.
development levels, right? So unfortunately, it's up to either a very small team or one person to try and test all these things. And yeah, when the scope is this big, you're bound to find bugs as a player that probably the developer didn't get a chance to squash, because how can you with a project this big,
Yeah.
Indeed, an important thing to remember.
Yeah. Let's be fair here. So these are all fan games, or most of them are fan games. So let's not be too harsh. You suck. No.
I'm gonna yell at them. No, I'm not.
No, but it's amazing what people can create, right? And just a single person team can create, and when you compare it to like a AAA developer, sometimes it's not too far off. So.
Oh, absolutely. And it doesn't mean that these games aren't, valid to criticism. It's just more a case of you do have to kind of think about the context in what they developed. It's not the same as, a big studio. You do have to kind of try and cut them some slack. I've tried to do that a little bit more this year. I've tried to be a little bit more even-handed, because it's like, well, this might be someone's first development, so I don't particularly want to just go out there and rake it over the coals because it's not doing it for me. It's like you got to be fair in these criticisms. But yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. It's in it. I assume developers like it when you point out the bugs, the things that you think should be improved. Because if they are honest about their work and want to improve them, improve what they're doing, they probably appreciate knowing what the people that have played it and have spent some time with it think, and what they feel like could be changed
Absolutely,
or
yeah.
adjusted, right?
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's what I try to offer as well with my coverage. Is it's not just a commentary, let's play of the game, which is quite a lot of fan game content on YouTube. I do want to try and give people feedback, because I feel like events like Sage are perfect platforms to get feedback. You obviously, when you're stuck in the development hole, essentially you're very much just laser focused on finishing a product or trying to get as much of it done ready so that you can release a demo, and you probably don't get an opportunity to take feedback or talk to people. Not every game is like Sonic Roboblast 2, where there's a massive forum and community around it that's always giving feedback. Events like this are probably rare opportunities for developers to get feedback.
For sure. Sure. Yeah. This is a massive platform for most people working on these games. So, yeah. Okay. So that's Sonic Encore. And now it's my turn. Right. So I went with, I realized everyone was going with the Sonic games, which makes sense. Right. So I tried to go for the other kinds of games. I went more with the indie games to make this a little bit more varied. But I still wanted to talk about Sonic SMS Remake. So the remake of the first Sonic game on the Master System, which I think it's a little bit cheating at this point. because it's done. They're just adding stuff, but I think it's a great game. It's version 1.9, revision 3. They have an Encore mode, a competition mode. You can play as Mighty, as Ray, as Knuckles, as Tails. So it's pretty much Sonic Mania, Sonic 8-bit Mania, or something like that at this point. I was trying to, but that said, you can't really control Ray's flight like in Sonic Mania. I was trying to do that. That's why I'm just always up and down, because you can't really, maneuver his flight, which is a shame. But it's understandable.
How does it work?
You can double jump in your. There we go. This happens. You fly down.
Okay, and then you can't you pick up again.
At least I couldn't. Maybe.
Okay.
Was it on me? Maybe again. Maybe.
Was you again?
Was it me being a really bad player, gamer? Maybe. But nevertheless, this is an amazing game. This is really nice, nicely done. The animations are spot on. It feels like it's an 8-bit game, just, remastered, if you will. The Encore mode as well, which I think I recorded a little bit of. Yeah, so it's just works the way that you're probably hoping it will. You switch between characters. The only thing is, if you die, you restart that stage, which I believe in Sonic Mania, if you die, you just switch characters, right? To the other ones that are available.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So here, if you die, and I think I will die at some point, maybe during a boss fight or something, and if you die, you restart that act with another one of your characters that you have unlocked. So that's but it's a brilliant game. And Sonic 1 in its own right is the 8-bit version is a brilliant game. So it's really nice to see this getting some love and getting remastered. Pretty amazing project, I think. Yeah. Skill Jim says, if there's a Sonic 2 Master System remake, I'm expecting it to be on Lime's list of top picks from the event. I think Lime prefers the Game Gear version, to be honest. So
Wow.
Yeah. Any of you guys played this year?
Yes, indeed. I enjoyed it. I thought that especially coming from the Game Gear version, yes. Playing this, I would feel blind coming back to the Game Gear version with the screen crunch there. I absolutely love that there is more to see. And holy crap, do I love especially the Tails sprite. Tails is so gosh darn cute in this game. I want that as a plushie. Give me.
I was going to say that for Knuckles. Look at Knuckles.
Yeah, Knuckles as well. I have never actually tried Knuckles, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's a pretty good looking game, right? It's really controls really well, so it's spot on for me. So I just thought this deserved a mention, even if it's a little bit cheating, as I said, because it's an older game, but it's been worked on, still being worked on, so it's nice. You also have these. I don't know what happened here. I think I skipped acts for some reason. That's like a hidden power up, and right. So yeah, things happen. It's nice. It's fun. Okay, so that's Sonic 2. There we go. I died. What happens?
You killed Tails? Why would you kill Tails? How dare you?
I'm a murderer. And see what happened. You have to restart the stage. So, it makes sense if you're going for the limitations of the Master System in a way, not completely, but in a way, it makes sense to make it a little bit more limited than in Sonic Mania. Yeah. That's Sonic SMS Remake there, my first pick. So back to Lewis.
Okay, so I see what's happened here is that the Brits have organised their games in order from 4 to 1, and you guys have organised your games from 1 to 4.
It's okay.
So that's why I chose Horizons first. Okay, so that should clue you in as to what I'm going to pick next. Okay,
yes.
So my next pick is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Tetris, which I was very excited about. I saw it in the trailer and I was instantly like, okay, yeah, I love the look of that. I love that they've gone really heavy with the Saturn style graphics for it. Just a real good time. It is very much a traditional Tetris clone. You just have the usual sort of Tetraminos, but they obviously are now shaped like Puyo Puyos. It's a good time. It's a good time. It's a little bit limited in what you can do. Unfortunately, you don't have the quick drop from modern Tetris games, and you can't hold pieces, which is a little bit of a shame. So you can't play it sort of like a modern Tetris game. It's very much, if you think of Game Boy Tetris, then you're basically, you're getting that, but with a nice fresh lick of paint on it, essentially making it a good time. When I did the video, the developer actually reached out and said, try putting in 1996 in the password menu. And that was a huge surprise, which unfortunately I haven't captured here, because if you do put 1996 in the password menu, you unlock a fan game within this fan game.
Okay.
Wow.
There's a fan game in here called Sonic Blasters, which is a lot more of a traditional 16-bit style Sonic game, but with the nice widescreen display and the higher color depth. And it's excellent. I am a bit surprised as to why on earth they didn't put it as the main game and not have Mean Bean Tetris be like the hidden game. But honestly, like if you like the look of this, then you should check out the password menu and put in 1996. It's a bit strange to pass, but basically the password doesn't look like it should have numbers in it, but it's symbols. But what the developer told me is that the default for the symbols is 0. So if you sort of count up the symbols like 1 to 9, essentially, so 1996. You can then unlock Sonic Blasters, which, is a really, really cracking little.
They really didn't want us to
16-bit
find
style
this then.
Yeah, I'm surprised they did that, because it's a bit like, why go to the effort, right? Like, if you don't
Is
want
it
people to find
finished, or
these cool
is it
things
just
to do.
like a
It's not
level?
finished. It's one stage, but 2 acts and a boss, and it's incredibly well made. I would recommend checking out this, because I like the fact that someone went to town and made a cool little Tetris clone using Saturn style graphics, but they also hid another fan game within the fan game. I think that's incredibly unique. I don't think I've seen anybody do that before. And it's actually a fantastic classic 16-bit style Sonic game in its own right as well. So that's my next pick. I was just so gobsmacked at the effort that's gone into the presentation, and then also hiding another game within a game is pretty crazy.
Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because the presentation is too damn good for just a Tetris clone, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There was a few games this year where it felt like presentation was key for that developer. They really wanted to showcase the best looking thing that they could create, even if they couldn't give you lots of content. It was nice to be able to at least present it in the best fashion they possibly could.
Okay, yeah, excellent. So I thought to myself, I actually saw this on your channel, and this is what we're looking at, the footage from your video on SegaDriven.com on the YouTube channel. But I thought, okay, I think like this is a game for me, but I'm not going to try it because it's just Tetris. And there's a hidden game in there. Who knew?
Yeah, no, the hidden game is the real special thing. I mean, like, I liked the Mean Bean Tetris in its own regard, because I do like me a bit of Tetris, but so that's why I picked it. But I just, that additional extra really pushes it over the edge into something really special.
Okay. Did you guys know about this? I don't think so, because judging by your reactions earlier, no.
Which part, the fan game or?
Yeah, the password, the fan game.
That's just so baffling to me, and yet also so cool, but so ridiculous, but amazing.
I know, right?
Maybe they're saving it for next year or something. They felt like, okay, we're not going to showcase this yet.
I think So that's the thing with some developers. I think they want to have something a little bit more substantial before they show it off properly. But yeah, still just an incredible little thing. Just like, yeah, what an amazing amount of effort to go to.
Awesome. So I'll have to try it. 1996, yeah, as the password. Okay. So that's Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Tetris. Awesome. Thank you, Lewis, for that. So coming up next, dare I reveal your next game, Viper? Maybe not. Maybe I should let you. While I try to...
Who reveals it, who doesn't? It's the same order as Lewis, as I had to break it to you.
Yeah, okay.
So...
Yeah. Feel free to talk about it, yes?
Okay, so it's Sonic before the sequel, Redux. I kind of think this had to be on my list at this point because I've accidentally let myself get intertwined with these games on a lot of levels in my
You're
online
the Lake Fepard guy,
naturally,
right? It absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, so it just made sense that there's yet another remake of Before or After the sequel, so here I am talking about it. I thought it was just going to be the whole shtick, but this one was really surprising to me because there's just a level of quality in it which we've not seen from these Before and After the sequel ports before. Because for those who aren't familiar, the source code was released back in about 2017 for all of the Lake Fepard Sonic fan games, which were, huge games for their time back in the 2010s era of Sage. So naturally, a lot of other people have come along and go, oh, well, parts of these don't work on new systems. Maybe there's some outdated parts we can remove. And of course, you're seeing here widescreen. But then you've also had the meaningful changes, like you've had Drop Dash added from Sonic Mania and beyond. You've got the Super Peel Out, which I think was in the original game, but I think has been a little bit more refined. There's some level design tweaks, and there's some really nice quality sprites as well that I've noticed in here. And at the moment, you've got the flash cutscenes presented in their original format, but I have no idea if that's also going to be changed. But from the perspective of trying to play these games in the modern day, where the originals don't work very well on they were intended for Windows 7 and the like. So we're a couple years beyond that, but difficult to play the originals, and you've had many other people come along and try to do the same thing I'm going to make the definitive version, and whether they stick or don't is always this really weird situation. But whereas there is already something called, I think it's Before the Sequel Plus, which is just no bells and whistles, widescreen, works on modern systems. This looks like it goes a long way to modernize the experience, bring it in line with all of the fan games since that it's, it revolutionized a lot of 2D fan games in how they presented themselves, the engines they used, and stuff like that. Of course, we saw perhaps Sonic and the Fallen Star, I think, is the most obvious in recent years tribute to these games. So as a result, I think there's a lot of love towards them now that the years have gone on, and there's a lot of want to get those little tweaks in and get it perfected, and this one really does that. Just the small little changes all add up a long way, and even though it's only a one-level demo so far, it really seems like it's going to be a deluxe way to play what is already a well-regarded fan game. So I just thought I was going to talk about it just because it was here, but it actually ended up really wowing me for what it is, when so many others in its place have just been sufficient. I think this one, as long as it gets finished, as long as it gets a bit further along, is going to be a great way to play what is already a great game. So, yeah, I thought I had to throw it in anyway after all that.
Excellent. Have you? I have a question, actually. I'm not very familiar with the original. Is this different? Is this trying to replicate the same thing, or just doing some gameplay tweaks or technical tweaks, or is it like the level design is the same? And
so, from what it seems right now, I think the level design is the same. No idea if this continues, if that will change at all. But yeah, a lot of it's been in like UI. In particular, the main menu is a lot more user-friendly. There's less crashes as a whole. It's mainly a lot of like new sprites, the framework around it, and just the little polish and touches, new moveset things. Just those small little changes like that all add up into this big package that has just been really a big change over the previous versions of the games, I'd say. So it's more of a quality of life thing, more of a Mania Plus rather than a whole new way to play this necessarily. Not quite in line with what you saw in Sonic 1 SMS Remake, where it's a complete overhaul, but it's just polishing what is already a pretty solid game all around. So, yeah, I'd give it a recommend based off that.
Yeah. My only gripe with this is the lack of visibility of some enemies and like spikes and stuff. Like, but it's probably me again. But
no, I think that's very much known with this game. I think as these Lake Fepard Sonic fan games went on, he got a little bit better in the level design department, because I find this one a bit rough to go back to. But it's still an important fan game, and one that gets a lot of attention because of what the developer went on to do and the games it inspired. So I think it's important that it's getting its brushing up finally. So it's been nice to see.
Excellent. Yeah. Any thoughts, Lewis?
I had this one downloaded, but I didn't get a chance to play it. It obviously looked very similar to another project where someone remastered a Lake Fepard game. There was one called Sonic After the Sequel Omega, I remember a few years back, I think, which very much did a similar thing to Sonic After the Sequel, in that it sort of gave it a widescreen presentation, added the drop dash, and just sort of, made it work a little bit better for more modern systems. So I love that these things exist. I think it's incredible that these games are being preserved, because, like Viper says, it is an important game to the fan game community, and it is the perfect story, isn't it, for any fan game developer to go on to make their fan games and then go on to indie and actually have great success in the indie space as well. So yeah, I think it is incredibly important for these things to be preserved and definitely a little bit more playable to modern standards in comparison to the old its original setup, which was 4:3 display and didn't have the same breadth of abilities that you do have now in modern sort of Sonic games. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. Great, cool stuff. So that's Sonic before the sequel. Redux. I was trying to
play that.
Look at document. Sorry.
I wish I had the opportunity to play that one, because
you weren't
looking
able,
at the footage.
Right? You weren't able to.
No. I like for some reason when I tried to play it, the game played at half the speed, and like nothing I did worked, and so it was very slow. But looking at the footage here now, like just details, like you are running below the clouds and then like up again. I just love those kinds of things, and I would love to have experienced it.
Yeah. Okay, so there's still time to figure it out. I don't know.
With what machine?
If my PC can run it, yours can too.
But it's not like I have a very good PC. It's not about that. It's something else. I don't know what it is.
I have no clue.
I don't know.
Okay. So on that note, Lime, what's your next game?
Next game, Sonic and Blaze.
Okay. Nice. Nice that you said that.
Yeah. I'm fine. Am I fine? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm good. No, I just very much loved how this played. It's a 2D game with kind of like a graphic style of Sonic Advanced, at least when you look at the sprites, but the Sonic Rush kind of feel, like with the boosting, and like instantly I just felt this is so much fun to play because it controls so well. I just like felt instantly like powerful, just flying through the stage, boosting with Blaze, and it was awesome just because of that. And then you have these action sequences as well. Like later in the game, you get chased by these like robot fish. And it's getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And just in a nick of time, you escape it. And I loved it, like for all of those reasons.
Okay. I looked at it and again, prejudice, and thought, nah, I don't think this is that great, but maybe I was wrong. Yeah. Any
The
of you
way
guys
it
nice to see
plays makes all the difference, I feel.
Okay. Sorry, Lewis.
I think it's nice to see that there's obviously so many aspects of the community that all take different things from what they like from the Sonic franchise, and obviously, you know, the modern Sonic sort of Sonic Rush games in particular have obviously really touched certain people in a way that maybe we don't vibe with as much. But like it's just lovely to see again, like the breadth of what people do, you know, especially this year. There was quite a substantial amount of like Advance or DS style fan games, and then also quite a substantial amount of 8-bit style fan games as well, which is just something you don't really see very often. So it was really nice to just see, you know, so much of the community really take the aspects that they like and really flesh them out into their own things as well. And yeah, again, this one unfortunately passed me by, but the
Giant
polish,
robot fish.
the actual like. Yeah, there's the big fish, right? So, the polish of the presentation is fantastic. I love the way it looks.
Oh no, Lime died. Yeah, we're watching some Lime reverse.
I didn't
footage.
say I was good at the game. I just said I liked it.
It actually looks much better than I assumed. Actually, from the footage that I had seen before. And it looks like it because I'm don't get me wrong, I love the Rush games, especially the first one. So I would enjoy, in theory, I would enjoy this. But when I looked at it, like the screenshots or something, I thought, maybe it looks a little bit simplistic. Maybe it's not that great. But I probably was wrong, as per usual.
I've never ever played the Rush games. Not
Okay.
a single one.
Okay.
Oh, get out, Lime.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Time to fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, come on.
100%
I have a goal to 100% every Sonic game. I am going to get to it, but yeah,
Eventually.
eventually, yes.
Okay.
SD, don't you dot me in chat. I see you.
Any thoughts, Viper?
I didn't get to play this one, so I can't say I do, but Lime seems to have some very positive impressions on it, so I'm clearly going to have to go back and change it. As with most of the games that I've missed off today's list, clearly, because I'm looking at the footage and going, okay, note that down, and I get the feeling I'm going to do this for every single game tonight.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing as well. Yeah, and whatever happens, 1996 password. Yeah, remember that. Okay, so as for my second one, a little bit of cheating again in a certain way. So this time, I'm going all in with the indie games, and it's Dormiveglia. I think this is like Italian. I covered this game maybe 3 years ago, 2020, I think. On my Twitch channel, I had an interview with the developer of the game on the Sega Lounge as well, because I really enjoyed this game. I'm stalling because I'm trying to make this. Okay, there we go. There we go. So Dormiveglia is a very nice little game. It's like a platformer. You control a character by the name of Quinn. She has like a whip, which she can use to attack enemies and pull, just pull things. And it's I think it's a very nice looking game. Maybe let's skip to the gameplay. The backgrounds are gorgeous. My only disappointment with this one, so this went on Kickstarter back in 2020, I think. It didn't get funded. But the developers kept on working on the game. I think they set up a Patreon. But there we go. Resident SD remembers this. Nice. So my only disappointment with this is that we just have this one level, which is the same level that we had back in the day, only more polished, with like cutscenes or better cutscenes and better dialogue. And I think the pixel art is a little bit more polished as well. But I was hoping to see maybe a different stage or something. That's my only... And it's not really a criticism because it's so good looking. It plays so well that I don't really think I can call this a criticism. I just, knowing of this game beforehand, I wanted to play something new. But it's a really good looking game, and I hope they eventually manage to release the full game and we get to play this, because I think it's going to be a great one. Very much recommended if you like. I don't know if it's going to be a Metroidvania style of game, if there's a lot of backtracking or not. I think at the time they talked about it. I don't know if that changed or not, but there is a little bit of backtracking here in this first level. So you have to save this character and collect the key and go back to I think it's the clock tower, and open it up and proceed. So maybe in a simple way, there's a little bit of backtracking, Metroidvania style, but not something not very hard or complex. So, yeah. Have you guys played this year or any other year?
But it looks absolutely amazing.
I was familiar with the development of it, and again, I think I had played an older build that may have appeared at a Sage previously. But yeah, I haven't seen this most recent build, and it does look absolutely stunning. Again, it's just lovely to see stuff like this at Sage. I think, again, it reminds me a little bit of Freedom Planet, which is another, big sort of Sage success story essentially. So I'd like to see this completed because I think it deserves its time in the sun.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Getting some Freedom Planet vibes. Yeah. So that's my second pick. Dormiveglia. Check it out. So let's go back to Lewis.
Nice.
Halfway there.
Yeah, right. Okay. So my next pick is, we were talking about Lake Vepid quite earlier, and this next game, Sonic Spectre, is heavily influenced by Lake Vepid games. So even though this is a demo release, it's actually very substantial at the moment. There are 5 complete zones in it with 2 acts each and a boss stage for each. The boss acts in particular are incredible. Like, one of the best things I've seen in a traditional sort of 2D classic style Sonic game for a while. They play out sort of like stages in themselves. So the bosses will always be this huge contraption that you sort of climb up and do platforming upwards onto. And then once you reach the top, you then have to find the weak points to defeat it. So yeah, it's just this lovely sort of payoff between a boss and an actual stage. It's a lovely sort of melding of both. But yeah, once we get to see some actual gameplay of it, you'll see the influence of Lake Vepid on it, because the artwork in particular just has that look. I don't know how he draws his pixel art, but there's something about it that it's very similar in that regard. But yeah, it's a very impressive little game. I just again, one of these things that just sort of came out of nowhere, and then I was just really surprised at how substantial it was. Just a very, very generous first demo for a game that I wasn't familiar with prior. And again, lovely to see Lake Vepid's influence on new Sonic fan games as well. He's obviously just quite a big name in the scene. It's such an important thing that he is influencing the next sort of generation of people to make their own stuff. Oh yeah, this is the first boss stage where you fight the Kraken. So yeah, like Robotnik's in a big Kraken machine, and you basically platform up its tentacles to reach its top and stuff. It reminded me a little bit of like Shadow of the Colossus in that regard, in that like it was a big thing that you had to scale before you could start attacking it. Just a really, really impressive little thing. Another one I didn't really see an awful lot of people talking about. I do have a video coming up on this, which will go live tomorrow. I think this is another sort of sleeper hit from Sage that I didn't really see an awful lot of people talking about. But yeah, I was very impressed by it. I think it's a cool little 16-bit style Sonic game, but obviously with the added advantages of nice big widescreen display and lots of colors on screen that you wouldn't get on a Mega Drive. Just cool stuff all around.
Really colorful, yeah, looking really good. Yeah, shout out to JPN as well, because since your video wasn't out yet, I had to find someone,
absolutely, JPN.
Someone else.
Look, I keep talking about these other guys and not being on their level and stuff, but like they make amazing contact. I'm glad they're out there doing their thing.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they
but
definitely
this
introduced me to
looks-
some stuff I played this year.
This looks great. Let me just
Yeah, very
move
much.
on a little bit. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Some underwater action here. Looking great.
I
as
think the one criticism I'd have of it is that it does suffer from a similar thing that Sonic Before the sequel suffers from, in that like the color contrast isn't heavy enough. Like sometimes in the stages where there's lots of blue, you kind of lose the sprites in amongst it, and it's a little bit too busy sometimes. Like in particular, I think the ripple effect on this stage is a little bit too harsh, to be honest with you. But these are little things that they can touch up in future releases. You know, it's just. You need to make your sprites and characters stand out better from the backgrounds, I think, sometimes, and fan game developers do get a little bit carried away sometimes and really add a lot of detail and a lot of similar colors on screen at once, and it becomes a little bit difficult to discern different elements from the game. But again, it's things that they can tweak. You know, it's not too hard to change the color contrast with your graphics.
Okay. Yeah. And kudos to them for using some Echo the Dolphin sprites and content there, like the.
Yeah, I think that this it's a shame we're only getting Knuckles' sprite sheet, because I think Sonic's sprite sheet himself is actually the same one as the one from Sonic after the sequel. I was like, oh, okay. there's your Lake Peppered influence right away.
Awesome stuff. Have you played this one, Viper?
I can't say I have. I hadn't heard of it until just now. You know the drill of where that's going to go. But no, I'm seeing all the influence that Lewis is saying here front and center. I have to say I can absolutely see where the criticisms are coming in as well, though, equally, because I can see Knuckles just fine in the stage, but Sonic, I have no chance of seeing him in this.
Yeah.
Combined with that massively huge, like, almost heat wave screen effect. It's so extreme. That's kind of what it reminds me of. It would be used for in other fan games. It's just so wavy and a little bit out there, but the level design looks like it's got it down, and these big, huge, grand levels, which was always one of the strong points of those games, I'd say. So looks pretty good to me, and it's a pretty meaty demo, like you said. So clearly one of the good ones from this year's one.
Excellent. So this is a great shout. Yeah, definitely. Oh, look at this. Looks really good. Yeah.
The cutscenes are a little limited. There's just sort of like just like flat screens that change between. And yes, Black Doom does make an appearance.
Oh my god.
It is, again, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's lovely to see like what games people really vibe with and really want to sort of like take influence from.
That was an ad, by the way. But yeah, that was a YouTube ad. Okay. So, Black Doom, instant win. But okay, so this is a great one. Sonic Spectre. Actually, this one flew by me as well. So thank you for recommending this one. So coming up next, one of the games that I've played but struggled with, Viper. Not Viper the game, but Viper's pick for game. No, Viper isn't a game yet. Viper, the video game, coming soon.
So I'm guessing it sounds like we possibly have the same criticism of this game, but every other aspect of it is so impressive that I couldn't not want to talk about it. And I think this also ties back into the being cast into the this certain type of character who's got to talk about these certain games. It's the big night fan game of the Sage Expo this year, because of course down to the logo and a lot of the games we saw in the trailer, there's a really big emphasis on Knights this year, which is always great to see, of course, because there's been a severe lack of fan games for the most part, I'd say, for what is still a pretty popular franchise. But in the case of this one, I forget its exact name. There we go. Knight's Moonlight Dreams. This was the one that stood out to me immediately, just because of, well, not because of the Sega-driven intro we're seeing right here. That's on all of the videos.
but also, not only
the
because
beautiful graphics.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can see it on stream right now, just look at it. If not, go to the Sonic Fan Games HQ website, because it's just really stunning to look at. It plays very well like Knights as well, with perhaps the improvements you would expect in the modern day. It as a whole, the perspective and the art style really hark back to, of all things, the Nights into Dreams score attack minigame for the GBA. If you ever played that through Phantasy Star Online, there you go. I think that's its biggest inspiration, and I ended up getting that game on cartridge because I love just the novelty of it. So seeing it fleshed out into this really gorgeous looking thing with a bit more depth. I think it's got calendar features as well. I don't know if the video here shows it off, but I did hear that there is Christmas Nights content in there as well, which I didn't personally get to test. But of course, if you've got Nights, you've got to have Christmas Nights. It's hand in hand. But I think going back to what Casey was saying as well, having some problems with it, the control scheme might not be perhaps to everyone's taste. And I think that I really struggle with it as well, as someone who spent a lot of time in both Journey of Dreams and Nights into Dreams. Even that score attack minigame I mentioned, I think it's very heavily optimized for keyboard controls, but even on a keyboard, it feels a little bit too sensitive. Like, instead of going in a perfect circle like I'd expect, we quite often just go in these weird ovals, these weird loops, and therefore it's a touch difficult to control. Currently, there's no gamepad support, so you'd hope as things progress, there maybe will be some gamepad support and it'll fix that. But even mapping the keyboard controls to a controller, I still had the same problems, sadly. But even in spite of that, I think it says a lot about it that I was willing to overlook what I found to be a pretty difficult and restricting control scheme just because I wanted to talk about it that much, because it really is that impressive in every other aspect that it deserves every bit of love and praise that I've seen for it this year right now. Because, of course, more Nights content, lovely, but more good Nights content as well, and stuff that feels like maybe in this weird fever dream this could have happened. Perfect. I love it. And yeah, I'd give this a recommend to people, even in spite of that. Maybe don't start here if you've never played a game in the series before. I don't think it will be a very good introduction. But if you've, say, played the Saturn original, then you'll really like what this has got going for it.
Yeah.
And,
you'll know what to do
based on that.
If you've played the original. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the reason why we're looking at footage from the Sega Driven YouTube channel is because I recorded footage myself. But this is much better in terms of gameplay. Mine was incredibly embarrassing because I struggled with the keyboard controls. So this flows much better. It's so amazing. Yeah. Kudos to Lewis.
Well, thank you very much. It was still a bit of a challenge to play with the old keyboard controls. I will reiterate on that criticism. It does really need actual analog stick controls, because unfortunately Nights without analog stick controls is kind of against the point, right? It's a flying game where you need that nuance, and at the moment it just doesn't have that. Digital controls just don't cut it, unfortunately. But it's something that I could definitely see them implementing at some point in the future. Obviously, it just didn't happen in time for this year's Sage, which is a shame. But similar to Viper's comments, I think this is a really, really gorgeous thing. Sorry I didn't get a chance to capture any sort of calendar stuff because, again, I very much just sort of capture what I can. Did my first playthrough and just let and use that as my B-roll. But if I remember correctly, once I completed the first stage, you unlocked Winter Nights instead of it being a calendar thing. So I'm not entirely sure how the calendar stuff works, to be honest with you. It may well still be a function that unlocks when you set the date to the right thing. But I think once you completed the first stage, you unlocked it just to select from the menu, essentially. So just another way to get to it, I guess.
Okay, nice. Have you played this, Lime?
No, I haven't. In fact, I've not played a single Night game ever.
We're learning a lot about Lime this stream, aren't we? And it's not good, quite frankly.
I'm sorry. Will I get cancelled now? Are you going to kick me out?
Hopefully.
It kind of depends.
If justice exists.
Oh my gosh.
Good answer. No, it depends on your
I
your
never
next
had
pick.
a Saturn. I never like had any.
You're in a PC.
Opportunity to play. Was it released on PC at the time?
It was but
okay.
Not the time.
a few years ago. So it's
a few years ago. It didn't help me then. when it was out. So I didn't get to grow up
You
with
have
it.
plenty of
So
timeline. This is no excuse.
I didn't get to grow up with it.
So maybe you can
So,
redeem yourself. Maybe you can redeem yourself by talking
Yeah,
about
there's
your
still
next
time.
pick.
This is the key.
Actually, keep talking about this because I need to. Yeah, keep talking about not
Just need
having
the
played
footage,
Nights.
yeah.
I need to find the footage. Yes. So you didn't play Nights. That's a shame.
Oh my god.
So you
It's
must have
even
had a
free,
Wii
like,
at
a
least,
couple
Lime, right? You must have had a Wii to try and play the sequel at some point, right? Like,
I
think
did
we
have
all
a
had
Wii. Yeah. But at that point it was too late. Because I'd already grown up, so
You'd left childish things behind. Oh,
yes,
Of course.
yes.
Left
So
that gaming behind.
I didn't get
exclusively
into
in favour of
contact with
Sonic
those
games.
things. Sorry.
Yeah, I said you left all those childish games behind exclusively in favor of Sonic games. So
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank
only
you.
mature
You understand
content
me.
for you now.
Well, look, Tales speaks about being a burden now, so it's clearly now, meant to be for adults. This franchise. So, yeah.
it's for
Definitely.
depressed adults now. It's fine.
Mental health issues. Yes.
I do think that growing up with the series does have an effect, though. I did grow up
yeah.
with Sonic, and I mean, if I
It's-
discovered
it-
Sonic today, would I love it as much?
Yeah,
maybe
in
I'm
defense
not
of not playing Nights, it is a very acquired taste, I think.
Yeah.
It either clicks or it doesn't,
it is,
and
yeah.
that was another one of my criticisms for that Nights Moonlight Dreams. Actually, is that it's missing the tricking from the original game, so
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah,
really
you
rack
said
up
that,
big
yeah.
high scores. So yeah, that seemed to be a common thing across a lot of the Nights fan games I played this year. So they all seem to be missing the tricking feature. So yeah, a little bit of a shame, but it's again something that they can implement in future, something to build on.
And we are now ready to talk about your next pick, Lime. Thank you very much for that, for stalling. But bottom line is, for shame, Lime, for shame. Anyway, your next pick. Your next pick, buddy.
For shame, Lime, you should get cancelled. But please talk about the next game that you picked. Yeah, Sonic Test Labs caught my eye because of the art style that it had. It has definitely a specific art style in the stage after this. Absolutely gorgeous. They really know how to play with color, and it was just inviting me because of that. And then I played it, and it's a Sonic game. I love it, and it's speedy, and it has this section that I don't remember from other Sonic games that I thought was clever. You needed to get through a part, and there were these things you can hide behind, and then there was this thing in the middle. Kept shooting things at you.
Oh, the
And you
sniper
had to,
section, yeah.
Yeah. And so you had to stay behind the things before you could keep going. And I thought that was a very clever level design. I absolutely enjoyed that. So the art style, the gameplay, I very much enjoyed it. You really feel the thrill of speed, if you will, there. So
Yeah, it's got this comic book aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
it's-
But definitely. I did there. If I would have some criticisms, there were some parts where I was just very lost about what to do. I did figure it out eventually, but there were things that were not clear at all. I didn't know where to go, and I felt a little lost. But
Yeah, but it looks good. It looks really
yeah,
good.
is
Is
it
it
possible
just the stage or?
No, is it possible to skip several minutes to the other stage? I have 20 minutes, I think, of this stage or something. Oh, here we go.
Okay,
Look
there we
at
go.
this. Look at how beautiful this is. Look at how they play around with colors to make it graphically. It's it's not very realistic, but the art style just like makes things pop, and this is what definitely drew me in. Like just how this looks, it's very, very beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Really, yeah, nice. Have you guys played this one, Lewis or Viper? I haven't.
Yes, I played this one. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be as positive. It has issues running at lower frame rates, which the developer has spoken about. It is very much catered towards higher end graphics settings, and unfortunately I don't have that, so it was very unresponsive for me. So that was a little bit of a shame. I did find that the homing attack didn't work correctly a lot of the times, and I was taking damage even though I was homing attacking enemies. There is a section at the end of that Metal Harbor style stage where you have to do just the most ornate sequence of homing attacks on all these different like boosters and springs, and it's just so involved that I thought it was a little bit too difficult for its own good.
That part I agree with you. I had difficulty with this part as well. Like
this is the part here, yeah.
Yes, indeed. I had difficulty with this part.
Yeah. Clearly,
I definitely agree with her.
But again, you know, like it's a very, very pretty game. I think there's potential here to make something very good. But I do feel like a lot of these modern Sonic games do suffer from not actually designing a stage almost. There's too much pitfall and not enough stage. You know, like if you're going to have a 3D game, I feel like you should encourage exploration, and this doesn't feel like it encourages it. It actually feels like it's actively punishing it. So that's a little bit of a shame. I think they really need to sort of tweak the stage design a little bit to be a little bit more forgiving, because if you're going to move around in a 3D space, you can't. I don't think it's reasonable to ask this much of the player, especially in the first stage of your demo. So yeah, just a little bit too involved for me. But I do agree that the art style is incredible. I think the actual control setup is very good and very responsive. It's just a case of the homing attack doesn't quite work correctly at lower frame rates.
I mean, look at my gameplay here. I keep dying so much over and over and over again.
Maybe we should move on right to another part of the footage. Oh
like
no, this is where you get stuck, right?
Yes, here is where I got lost. Like, what do you do here? What do you do here? Oh, like I don't know where to go. And then I was supposed to like find a way to go under it. I was supposed to roll under this. And like, there's no way to see that. Like, I just feel very lucky that I just happened to do that. Otherwise, it's just like there is no indication at all there. And yeah.
Okay, so that's Sonic Test Labs. Something to consider to check out. Yeah, I mean, the thing here about some of these games or some of these demos is that there's a lot of room for improvement for, and like we said, if people are giving the correct kind of criticism, the developers can take that and improve.
And as well, like product. I think there are so many different types of Sonic fan now that if this might look very attractive to certain people that and it's just a case of that this wasn't really doing it for me, so it's not fair to completely just write this one off. I think if you like the look of this and you like a bit of modern Sonic, then I think it's certainly worth checking out, because there's not anything really that looks this good, I think, in a 3D Sonic space at the moment. I think it's going to age beautifully because it's got this lovely cell shading effect. So it's definitely got that going for it.
Yeah. D, Lime? Only D? For shame.
What's wrong with the D? What's wrong with the D?
Nothing at all.
No, well, there we go. Thought so.
Instead of D, what about T? That's this was a really bad segue. My next game is Toree For Saturn. I wasn't familiar with Toree. Were you guys familiar with this before, Sage? No?
I'm familiar with the original Toree, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like notoriously one of the cheapest games you can get on Switch. It's like always like a pound. And it's a very good little platform.
I bought the original 2. So it's Toree 3D and Toree 2, I think. They're both on Steam. So I bought them both for like 99 cents. in terms of euros. So after playing this demo, they're a little bit different, but Toree is a very nice little platformer, 3D platformer. So you play as like a bird with sunglasses for some reason. And in this one, I haven't played the second one, Toree 2, but the Toree 3D, which I assume is the first game, is not as fast-paced. This one is really, really fast-paced. And if so I was trying to explore, but you're not meant to explore. You're just meant to just keep going and collect stars. And I was trying to go back and collect the other star that I left behind. You're just supposed to keep going and connect moves and homing attacks and stuff. Yeah. They lie. Left trigger centers the camera. It doesn't. It moves the camera around. No, it doesn't center the camera. You have to do it manually. I thought I could attack enemies. Obviously, I can't. So this is just like almost an endless runner in a way. Not that you keep moving, but you should keep moving. You attack these stars to give you some more momentum. You are not supposed to touch enemies. No, don't do this. Don't do this. Play the game as it's supposed to be played. So just keep going like this. Don't try to attack enemies. But at some point, you just it gets a little bit hard to control the character, and the camera angles become a little bit too hectic. So because you're just like moving in a circle from building to building, I restarted at some point. You're just moving, and the camera moves with you. Actually, no, the camera doesn't move with you. The camera stays at the same angle all the time. You have to adjust the camera as you keep going, and that sometimes can be a little bit disorienting, especially when you're going really, really, really fast. But I really like this one. I think it has, it's not going to be anything groundbreaking, but it's a fun little platformer. You can probably complete it in, I'm guessing, a couple of hours at most, judging by this first stage. It looks nice. It's Toree for Saturn, so they were going for a Saturn aesthetic, and it's just a fun little platformer. So recommended for some fun times. And I recommend the other games as well. They're already available because they're just less than €1 or £1 or whatever your currency is. So why not try them? Yeah. Have you guys played this one?
No.
No.
I didn't
Looks
play
nice,
this
though.
one specifically, but I have played Toree 3D to completion, and this looks very similar. I mean, they're definitely gone for, like you say, a bit of a different aesthetic choice with this one. I don't know if it does the same thing that the original game does, in that as the game progresses, it gets a little bit, how do I describe it? Horror, like Sonic EXE almost. Like it starts to influence, add all these sort of like creepy things happen as the game progresses. But I don't know if they've decided to dump that as an aesthetic because, I think it works fine as a cute little 3D platformer that can be approachable to anybody. I don't know why the first game felt the need to delve into little horror aspects every now and again, but they're great little controlling games. I can't remember if you had free control over the camera in the first one as well, to be honest with you. But it felt
you did.
It felt quite manageable on Switch. Yeah, I felt quite manageable on Switch. Maybe it's a case of like having that extra stick for camera control is a lot more comfortable than it is using shoulder buttons essentially.
Yeah.
I do like the Toree games. I think, if you like a 3D platformer, then you're certainly not going to get anything better at that price. Worth checking out at least.
High praise
if you like the look of it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Thought this was a nice little demo that people who enjoy 3D platformers should like as well. Okay, so moving on to our fourth pick, and we'll start with Lewis. Surprise.
Okay, so you're going to think I'm absolutely crazy, but my favorite pick from this year's Sage was Sonic McOrigins Plus. Surprising nobody who knows me, because I have a bit of a penchant for LCD games. I don't know why, but I just find them fascinating. But what I want to highlight with this one is not the quality of the games themselves, because they are very simplistic and repetitive, and you will get bored of them very quickly. But what I want to highlight is the sheer effort of the Sonic community to archive and preserve things like this. Like, Sega are not going to preserve these games in any way, right? So the fact that the Sonic community are going out of their way to not only digitally preserve some of the McDonald's LCD games, but all of them from 2003 to 2005, and put this much effort into the presentation where you can actually... So while I'm playing this, right, you can use the keyboard, or you can put your mouse on the on-screen LCD and press the buttons on the LCD unit themselves to use to play the game, like you would the real deal. It's also like available for like 4 different operating systems, and one of them is Android for mobile, so you can play it on the go.
Nice.
So it's just the sheer effort that's gone into this project that is quite astounding, honestly. Like, this is why the Sonic community is amazing, you know. Like, there are fans out there that will put this much effort into a project, into preserving games that really don't deserve to be preserved. I found this entirely fascinating. I've been meaning to cover these on my channel for ages, but I can't get my units to work anymore because the batteries run out, and trying to change them is actually quite destructive. You do kind of just end up destroying the battery compartment trying to change the batteries. But yeah, look, you've got the scans of the instructions are available. You can look at both sides of the actual game unit. You can look at it open and closed if it's got a compartment. Oh, it's just what an astounding like amount of effort to put into something like this. I think digital preservation is incredibly important as well, I've got to say. Like, I think regardless of the quality of the product, if someone put, you know, work into developing a game, regardless of what it is, it deserves to be preserved. And this project does that. So that's why it's my pick of the Sage. I think it's just an astounding piece of work that nobody else would ever bother to do. But the Sonic community will do it. They will preserve anything if it's got Sonic on it. So yeah, what an amazing little thing.
Yeah. How many games again?
Oh, in total, I think it's like 30.
Wow.
Amazing.
No, it's probably not that many. It's probably about 20, but still, it's every single LCD game they released between 2003 and 2005.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Have you guys tried this one? I actually saw this on on Lewis's channel, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. I'll need to try this, but it's, you know, some other time. But this is amazing. The concept itself, like he said, is just amazing. Have you guys tried it, LimeViper?
No.
I think I've tried the actual LCDs, but not this. But half the experience for me was waiting for Lewis's video on it, and it didn't disappoint because I think I just lived through that instead. I knew immediately that this was going to appeal, and also I really admire Casey's dedication in not playing the commercial during the during the on-screen video parts here. It's great work from you. Congrats.
Okay. So
the game already covers that. When you select those LCD games that are featured in the Pakistani commercial, you get the announcement of the title from the advert. So yeah.
Awesome, very good. So that's Lewis's number one pick, Sonic McOrigins Plus, Viper. I don't know if you went the same way, like in order of preference or not.
I did indeed. So
Okay.
my number one makes me traitorous or something like that. So
Not at all. Not at all. If you hadn't mentioned this, I would have. So.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay then. Well, I guess based on that, you've got the audio ready, so I don't need to buffer for too long here. So
Yes.
it's my number one was Bub's Big Blowout, which really surprised me because I guess now it doesn't feel right to say, but it is technically a bygone era. But my only real experience with Bubble Bobble is having played Flash game clones of it back in about 2005. I've never actually sat down and played a proper Bubble Bobble game. I've got really into the Puzzle Bobble series over the last couple of years, and like even a bit of Rainbow Islands here and there, but I've never sat down and properly played these ones aside from maybe a select handful of experiences. But having experienced them through these other weird, bad Flash games almost, you have this impression of what a Bubble Bobble fan game's going to be and how it's going to play, but this is just incredible. It's all the quality you'd expect from an official Taito release and more, and it really takes what is a pretty repetitive gameplay loop, I'd say, for the original 2D games. It takes it, flips it on its head, and adds a lot of replayability, a lot of depth into the actual gameplay side of it. As you see here now on the screen, you can move between these 2D
had no clue
screens.
what I was doing there. Did I? I don't think I had.
You can watch
any
Casey
clue.
die, apparently. But
Okay. At some point,
you get
I
all this
realized what
3D.
I'm supposed to do. Yes.
yeah, it takes a while, especially with the keyboard controls, to get used to it. But
Yes.
once you get what it's going for, it's like, oh, this is a really not only polished, which I wasn't expecting for something of its scope. It's really professionally done, and yes, so much more depth than a typical Bubble Bobble game, because you do have this full 3D perspective here, and as you can now see, you can actually play it in the 3D perspective, not just in that 2D side scroll a bit. I don't think you can hear audio right now, as far as I'm aware, but you also get
no.
Yeah,
Don't have audio.
so I'll explain. You can get like little retro remixes when you go into that 2D perspective as well, and then it switches back to like a fully orchestrated, almost official quality remix. I don't know if it is necessarily or not. I would assume it's fan-made. I didn't see the credits, but a lot of this just is above and beyond what they're doing with the actual Bubble Bobble series right now. I'd love to see this as an official entry, and yeah, so much polish, so many new ideas and fresh takes on it, and you could spend hours and hours in this, which is before you could spend hours and hours before getting bored or really feeling like the gameplay's getting repetitive. Which, as much as I love the original formula, I don't think you could say that within one or two loops you've experienced Bubble Bobble. But here, there's just so much to do. It's a real extension on the formula and very impressive. Because although I think they're still doing some great stuff with the franchise with like the recent Switch version, I think this is a case of the fans going, yeah, but look what we can do, and it actually being a little bit better than the official entries. So it's really interesting to see if something like this will get picked up. Who knows if Taito have any sense, they'll give this the license, but I somewhat doubt that personally. But regardless, I hope to see more of this, because this blew me away, and it had to be my number one spot because it's so impressive. I don't know if anyone else, like Casey said, felt
definitely.
the same. I think I know what I'm about to hear, but go ahead then.
I downloaded this because of the title. I enjoy the originals and thought, let's see what they make with this. Maybe it's just like I assumed it was like maybe a simplistic version of the originals, or maybe like a little bit more polished HD or something like that. I wasn't expecting this. I died a lot here, I think, in this part. There's another part where I die a lot, which where you have to jump on the bubbles, like to get through a large gap. That was
in the next level, right?
It's the next level, yes.
Yes.
That was a pain with the keyboard controls. But this is amazing. This is just amazing. I wasn't expecting anything like this at all. Like, it's just the level of detail, the amount of content as well you have here. Like you said, the music is nice because it reminded me of those Super Mario 3D World and 3D Land stages where you move from 3D to 2D and you have like the 2D soundtracks, and then you go back to the 3D view and you have the orchestra versions. So it was a nice touch as well. But this is, I think, a really obscure IP when you consider everything, right? And the fact that, like you said, they aren't doing much with the franchise. So it's a really obscure game to do this with, or an IP to work on, I think. So this surprised me a lot, but in a very positive way. very positive way. So definitely one of my favorite games of this year's Sage as well. Sorry, Sonic. Anyone else tried this one?
I have it downloaded, ready to go, but yeah, I didn't get to it, unfortunately, because I had to focus on the Sega stuff for the channel.
Yeah.
But I will be playing this because I do love me a bit of Bubble Bobble, and just that initial reveal going from the 2D stage into the 3D area, I was like, that's beautiful. Like, what an incredible piece of work. Like, that's your money shot right there. That's incredible.
Yeah. If this is selling the game for you, you'll pretty much enjoy it even more because you'll be able to play it better than I do with these awful keyboard controls. But yeah, great game. I don't know if we get to that stage where, look at this transition. It's really nice. You go from 3D to 2D.
I think it's around here, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is after that little bit where you have to jump on your own bubbles, which is a pain. But the level of detail is amazing. Yeah. So recommended. Definitely. Get
Highly.
2 thumbs up. Yeah. From both of us. So that's Viper's number 1. And we've now reached Lime's number 4, which is probably Lime's number 1 as well.
Yeah, I also sorted them after preference.
Okay.
So
Okay.
This one is definitely my favorite. Sonic 3 Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
I like play this. It's I screamed. Like I literally screamed. It was that good. I absolutely loved it. Like on paper, it is basically like they take the multiplayer stages and make a one-player experience out of them, and fine. But they add so much to it. They add interesting mechanics, interesting ideas. They blend that with these awesome action sequences where you just go very fast and you just burst through obstacles. And to that, they have absolutely amazing remixes of the songs. I kid you not. Like I just, for many of these songs, I just put down the controller and just listen to it because it was that good. So with that and all of the creativity and the gameplay things that they add, it's very rich when it comes to that. It is absolutely amazing. I was overjoyed the whole time I played through this. Absolutely amazing. So
just skipping to parts of different levels as well so people can see what you're saying.
Oh, right? So this is interesting. So they made the competition stages into actual single-player stages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay.
I had this one downloaded but didn't get a chance to play it, so this is really interesting to see. Oh, wow, Azure Lake as well.
Yeah.
It is a lot better than it looks, I guess. Once you experience it, you have yourself and how balanced it is. It's
because these are full stages, right? Not just because the competition stages are very short.
Yes, indeed.
These are
they
full stages.
Yeah. Yes, they are full one-player experiences, and it's not just the stages remade. They add a lot to it and a lot of interesting things. Here's one of those action sections. You just run on water, burst through things, and then something bounces you up in the air and you fly, and those are loads of fun as well.
This is really fascinating. I think I kind of incorrectly assumed it was just sort of Sonic 3 Air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what after I saw Lime playing this, I realized I was wrong about what the concept of this was. I assumed it was another Sonic 3, not remake, but take on Sonic 3 with a few tweaks or something. have something here. Okay. I was trying to get to Balloon Park. There we go. Oh.
All right, here they
shooting
shoot
balloons
at you. It's like it's difficult to get through.
That's not
but it was
annoying at all.
but it was loads of fun, like doing that. Like, and I feel it's a genius thing to do because it could be throwing enemies at you so that you get hurt and lose rings and die, and that would just be annoying. But since it's balloons, you just get pushed back. And you can keep trying. So the fact that they are balloons is a very good choice if they're going to do something like that.
Excellent. Resident SD says Balloon Park Act 2 theme is ridiculous. Ridiculous. So nice music. As well.
That looks incredible. I do wonder, like, whether you've had to redraw like all the graphics from the competition stages in a higher resolution, or whether they're available in a higher resolution and it's just sort of like an interlaced mode where it squashes them down on the original Mega Drive game or not. But that's an incredible like amount of effort to turn the competition stages into proper single player stages. That's incredible. I really want to try this now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, everyone should really try this. Like, this footage doesn't even do it justice.
Excellent. So that's your pick for this year's Sage. Sonic 3 Chronicles.
Yeah,
which reminded me of the Sonic Chronicles project that they were working on. Which, I mean,
I think that might have been another thing that's
Sonic
kind of stopped me from playing it.
yeah. I think that's it. I looked at
the name.
The name and thought, okay, no, this is a Sonic Chronicles. Sonic 3 turned into Sonic Chronicles, like an RPG. Maybe that was my train of thought there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I tried the other one. Nope. Like I tried it for like 2 or 3 minutes and quit. It's Sonic Chronicles.
Also, like this, I laughed so much at this. Like, you know, they have the TV with Eggman on it, and if you hit it, you get hit. Like you get damage.
Yeah.
They've added slow shoes.
Oh.
Like, you have speed shoes that gives you speed usually, but here they make you slow. So they have like 2 TVs here now that you don't want to hit. Because like it slows down the music, everything goes down like this, and you can't run fast. And it's like, well, why would you do that? I don't know. Like, it's fun when it happens. It's a fun idea because like you're trying to avoid them, and the punishment for not being able to is, you know, that. And it made
that
me laugh.
boss fight got really fast. It turned from balloons to bombs really fast.
Yeah, indeed.
This looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely gonna try this after we're done here. Yeah, I have it downloaded, just didn't play it. Okay, so that leaves me with my last one. This is a very special and different kind of game. And let me stall for a little bit to see if I have the footage ready. Think I do. So actually I do. This is called We Took That Trip. Okay. So it's a different kind of experience from everything else we've been talking about. I just wanted to highlight it because it's not really my type of game, the game that I play like every day or something. But this is a really interesting experience. So you're supposed to be on a road trip with your van, and it's not really that easy to control. I unfortunately don't have a lot of footage from the actual the meat of the game, which is driving your van. But it's supposed to be that you drive your van. You have to fix it when it breaks down. You have to find fuel. It runs on like garbage that you find. There's like he engineered a system to turn trash into fuel. And every little thing that you do in real life, you have to do. Like if you have to You don't just point and click to the van and enter it. No, you have to point to the handle and open the door. Then you have to point to the seat and you sit down, and then you have to point to the handle again to close the door. And then you have to turn the keys and turn on the radio and turn off the radio. So that's how it works. I'm just gonna move a little bit further. So I, at this point, had things in my hands because I didn't know what to do with them that I picked from the garbage can. So you every little thing that you want to do, you have to, perform an action. Even driving, which is kind of tricky, especially since you're using the keyboard and the mouse at the same time. That's not something that I'm very familiar with. I'm not a very big PC gamer, so I'm more used to using a control. You have the instructions, like the instruction manual that he made for his van, how you can refuel it with garbage, with anything, objects that you can find. He explains that if you run out of battery, you have to bump start the car. If you run out of fuel, you have to bump start the car. How you can do that. And every little thing here is an action that you have to perform in game. You have to click on things to make things happen. Let me just move a little bit closer to the end of the footage to show you what I mean in terms of driving. So I turn on the radio, I turn on the lights, right? And I try to move the car. I think, okay, we're good. No, you have to, get it into gear, and then you control it with the keyboard and the mouse at the same time, which is a little bit tricky. Oh. And that's how this works. And I didn't record a lot of footage, but it's a really enjoyable game. The soundtrack is amazing. It's like synthwave. If you're into that sort of thing, the visuals are great, and I definitely recommend this for something that I don't really know. I haven't played it to completion. It's available on Steam, by the way. The demo. It's not on the. If you go to the Sage website, it takes you to Steam. You can download it there. And it's something different. It's like a different experience of driving and engineering, and for that alone, I thought it was worth a mention in a game that I really enjoyed. And it's something different, so I wanted to go with different things and not just the Sonic games, because that's, I think, the beauty of Sage as well. At this point, it's not just about the Sonic games, but the amount of indie games and good indie games that we get, and the fact that indie developers who probably maybe are not even part of or have never been part of the Sonic community, but choose Sage as a platform to promote their games. That's amazing, I think, and that speaks volumes of the reputation that the event has at this point.
I just wanted to clarify, is it when you're playing it, is it quite, I don't want to say quap, but is it supposed to be over involved to the point that it's funny, or is it just or is it supposed to be quite chill and relaxed? Because the visual style and the presentation of it all reminds me of a indie game called Wide Ocean Big Jacket, which is a game where you go on a camping trip essentially, and it's very chill, and you're basically sort of letting the story unfold, and it's not that involved as such. It's very much sort of trying to give you a very sort of relaxed experience, and it's very sort of chill and cozy. Whereas this kind of has a look of a cozy game, but by the way you're describing it, it sounds very sort of involved, almost to the point that it's over-involved for laughs.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think they're trying to go for a chill vibe in terms of not just the looks, sense. But the soundtrack as well, and the theme of the game as well. So you're supposed to be going on this road trip and meet your friends, I think. But it's not that chill if you consider that you have to, you can't just, you're not on autopilot. You're always driving. You're always in control. So if what happened, and I don't think that's in this footage here, but what happened at some point is I I think I got a text message or something on my phone, and I took my fingers off the keyboard, and the car just drove off the road and into smashed into a rock or something. So, and that damaged the car.
Don't text and drive.
Don't text and drive, exactly. That's a life lesson right there. So I'm not sure what they're going for in terms of if it's supposed to be funny. I think I crashed here at the beginning because I didn't know
I'm certainly curious. Like, I think you've really highlighted something quite unique here. Because I do like a lot of those sort of relaxed, sort of chill games, and I do like a walking sim, and things like Firewatch and stuff, which is also this is giving me vibes. So definitely. Really cool looking game. I think I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, and I'm curious about what the story here is. I think there's a story involved here. Usually in these kinds of games, the story, even though there are no cutscenes or anything, but there's a story there, something interesting to learn. So I'm curious about that. I'm not very. I played it for half an hour or something. Had to restart it because I had to do something else, and then I had to restart the game. But I'm curious to know what else this can bring to the table. But it's definitely something to try, I think. If you're into cozy games, like you said, chill games, experiences, not just games, action games, definitely something I'd recommend. And looks beautiful. Yeah. Okay. I think we had a pretty good conversation here. 16 games we highlighted today, which is nice, I think. Thank you guys for agreeing to join me for this. And like Resident ST said, love seeing non-Sonic stuff at Sage. Great to see it become a great event for the entire community. Definitely. Yeah. So it's still going, so you can still pick up the demos and try them out, download them on your computer, try them out. I'll leave all the links for the games that we mentioned in the show notes, by the way. So for people listening in, you can check them out more easily if you're curious about any of them. But do check out Sage. How many games in total? Does anyone know, the exact number or approximate number?
I don't. Oh God,
Too
I wouldn't
many
even
games.
begin to guess. It's got to be close to 100, right?
Probably, or over. Yeah, probably. So there's too much. There too many games. Not enough time to play all of them, at least on my end. So definitely check them out. And they have the website categorized, so you can sort them from indie games, fan games, and what's the other category? I think it's engines or something like the.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So you can find what you want.
Frameworks.
Exactly, frameworks. I think that's it. And then you can actually, there's always a random game section that, suggests a couple of them. So if you're having feeling choice paralysis or something, just try the random games or try the ones that we highlighted today. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for joining me. And I think people would like to know where they can find you online and check out your content. # quality content. So, Lewis, let's start with you. Where can people find you?
Okay, www.segadriven.com is the home base. That's where I do all my stuff. Links to the YouTube are on there, so you can see my Sage coverage, of which there will also be 16 games covered by the end of tomorrow. That's been my main focus this week, is just getting 2 videos out today about individual Sage games with a little bit of criticism, so the developers get feedback. If you want to follow me directly, you can follow me on Mastodon Social at SonicYoda, or you can follow me on Blue Sky on SonicYoda, and no other microblogging platform that may exist otherwise.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Okay. Viper, what about you?
Well, if you're listening to the audio version of the show, the one that's going out currently, not the pre-recorded version, you can catch me on RadioSEGA is the long-winded way of saying this. radiosega.net. Fridays at 7 p.m. UK time. My main other activity is also another show that airs on kngi.org Wednesdays at 10 p.m. UK time, talking about those weird games like Bubble Bobble and not those Sonic games or anything like that. Micro blogging services, I'm weird as well. Catch me on Mastodon. I am at the GreenViper8 at the VIPVipers.space. Unfortunately, I still have to do the X though, because you got to get the word out there. So it is at the GreenViper8 on there too.
Excellent, and everyone will find links in the show notes as well. Lime, first time on the show, right? So where can people find you?
Oh yeah. People can find me on Twitch at LimeReversed. I have a goal to 100% all Sonic games there, and when it comes to the home console games, I'm getting pretty close now. I'm counting 9 games left. So if you want to follow me on that journey, that would be awesome. You can also catch me on X Twitter. Yes, I do have that. I am trying to find alternatives, but no one else is there.
Yeah. So we'll see. Mastodon, perhaps. Blue Skies.
Yeah.
The choice of social media for Sega fans, Blue Skies. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So and after the Sonic games, you're focusing on the Knights games, of course, as determined earlier today. Yeah, but you have the fan games. Don't leave.
Okay, where's he going?
He's going.
I'm trying to go out of the screen, but the camera doesn't even let me.
Yeah. It's following you around.
Don't forget, you're here forever.
Okay, so for everyone listening or watching, thank you very much for joining us. I think this was a very fun episode. Definitely more fun than the previous Sage episodes that I've done, which was
More
just
fun than
like
the previous
interviewing.
episodes.
and all other previous episodes. You were the best guests ever.
Aww.
Oh, shucks.
Until next time, then they're the best guests ever, except for
of course.
I see through it.
Every week. But thank you very much for joining me, guys. Thank you very much to everyone who listened or watched. Obviously, this will go on the podcast apps as well, including terrorplayer.com. Yes. #ad. #pay me resident SD. We'll be back next week with Like a Dragon Ishin special, and then we'll go on vacation actually. But that's something for another time. Thank you very much for watching, and again, Lime, Lewis, Viper, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
It's been a blast. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us on.
See you guys next time. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of RadioSega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Find them at opussciencecollective.bandcamp.com. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at The Sega Lounge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com and wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. A Mixed On Productions podcast.